two might remember one thing, or one might remember one way, and somebody else remember a different way. So what we actually will do, we'll have two versions of what, and so if there's any misinterpretation, we can always get a clarification there. So,
Unless one of the people is your wife, and then you don't need a second opinion.
no comment. That's true though, that is true.
Somebody's gonna send Carla a copy.
Every wife,
I know,
every-
So
I'm
is
stepping
summary
in
a
it all the
part-
time.
So is the summary part of this resolution or not?
Yes,
Okay.
unless someone objects and want to make an issue of it.
Yeah.
So, okay,
Yes.
alrighty. So, all in favor?
We have a-
Move.
Support.
Who moved?
Patricia,
Thank you.
James, support. Any further questions, comments, concerns? Hearing none, all in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it, and so ordered. Okay, we have a resolution now to reschedule the June meeting.
And that is a suggestion. I think last year you moved the meeting up 1 week due to the NAS conference. I did include a calendar in your agenda if you'd like to select another date for the June board meeting.
So when is when is the NAS conference?
NAS is the 24th through the 26th, I believe.
Okay, so 24th through the 26th, and so the meeting would be changed from the 26th to the 19th, a week before.
I'll move that we change the date.
It's been moved
Support.
and supported
To the 19th?
to the 19th. Any concerns,
Yeah.
questions?
Of course, that would move the finance meeting up to the 18th then, probably.
Yeah, we could do
That's
that.
not part of the
We should
motion.
have Deborah make sure that
Yeah.
happens.
Gives me that.
So, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, so ordered. Item number E, resolution to approve the engagement letter of, the engagement of the auditor. And this is the annual, we do this annually, and so this is no different than it's been done in years past. Go right ahead.
This year, Trustee Moore had a question about some of the language. There was language that was added in 2016, and it just, we're acknowledging, the board is acknowledging that when the city goes through their audit process, they contact our auditor and they say, hey, has anything happened since June 30th that it could affect the finances of the retirement system? So in this language that they included, we're expressly acknowledging that they do report to the city's auditor on our financial statements for July through November, December, when they acquire. But there was other language that Cynthia requested they remove, and they were agreeable to changing it.
Yep.
And so I expect to have that revised letter from Manju today, and you're just authorizing Mr. Moore's signature on that engagement letter. Does anyone have any questions?
We need to also, I mean, we're authorizing him to sign a contract that we didn't authorize. We need to authorize the contract, or the engagement itself. And in that, we can make it all one motion, but we need to reappoint the auditors. That's a responsibility
I thought
of
you
the board.
reappointed them last year for 5 years, when we did the review.
We did?
Wasn't that 2 years ago that you guys reviewed Plant Moran, and you reappointed?
Probably it was two or three, yeah.
I don't remember we even reviewed. Did we? Okay, I didn't know we did that. I'm sorry.
But no, it.
But
can
we should at
make it
least
part of it.
put in there, you know, the,
We're engaging.
not necessarily, but the audit fees will be, as quoted in their letter, $16,170 for the year. I mean, we should just
Okay.
make the motion look like we know what we're approving. I mean, as far as the dollar amount, that sort of thing.
Okay, why don't we just
Fluff it up a
add that and include that as a part of the motion? If there's
Yes.
no objection, we'll just order that. Yes.
Ask of the attorney if I might. Is there any problem or any conflict with Plant Moran, who is the acting in a financial capacity for the city, which is the primary employer for this plan, would also be the auditor of the plan?
No.
Yeah,
We're
we've done
two
that in the
separate
past.
legal entities, I would
And
not.
they're not
think
in
that
an
they-
audit capacity of the city, right? They're in a functional staff position.
Exactly.
So, yeah, that usually,
That's been done in the past.
Right, we went through that with Mr. Schimmel. He had appointed someone from
We
Plant
did it
Moran.
a lot before Mrs.
they,
Schumer was
they,
even part of the
yeah, that
process.
happens.
All
But
right.
it's the firm that has to worry
Yeah.
about it.
Okay, all right, I just wanted to make sure. I asked
Plant
the
Moran
question.
has to worry about it.
Right.
Okay, is there any further questions, comments, or concerns? Hearing none? All in favor?
Well,
Nobody
We
moved.
didn't, nobody moved it.
What I thought was, okay, there's a mover and a support.
I'll move it.
Oh, yeah, I knew they were gonna do that anyway.
You're reading my mind again?
Can't help it. So, all in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it and so ordered. Okay, so now we'll move to item number
Yeah.
F. Thank you.
this would authorize authorize staff to move forward with conducting a search for a medical director, and further authorizing me to work with a service provider in the meantime to have Mr. Parr re-examined. And it may not necessarily be MES or the one that we eventually select.
As a further explanation to what Ms. Munson is saying, for the benefit of maybe the new folks, we have, I think it's maybe 5 consultants that we have the ability to employ. What we decided as a board to annually review these consultants. And the medical director is the one that has been recommended by this board to review for this year. And that's why we're doing the process that we're doing right now.
And in addition to that, because there was an issue with this particular re-exam, the provider that the current medical director was recommending asked to be paid in advance, which is a concern for a service we have not yet received. And, you know, this is a retiree that there are some other circumstances around it, and it would probably serve the retiree better and serve the board better if Deborah was allowed to find someone who would agree to examine him independent of the current medical director.
So we'll examine these medical directors, and that will be brought back to the board for final approval. Okay? So, do we need a mover and a support?
I would move.
And support. Okay, we have a mover and support, we have a proper motion before us, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it, and so ordered. We'll move on to item number G, resolution to put Robertson Capital on watch.
Okay, and in relation to the correspondence in your consent agenda, the consultant is recommending that as a formality, we do put Robinson Capital on watch for 2 quarters.
I would move that we do so.
Support.
Okay, we have a mover and a supporter. Is there any further comments, questions? No? All in favor? Opposed?
Thank you.
Ayes have it, so ordered. We now, following the agenda, item number 1, a report from legal counsel.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I will try and keep my comments to 45 minutes or less. Just kidding. Okay, so the first item on the General Matters Legal Report, the proposed side letter agreements with Bloomfield Capital, American Strategic, and TerraCap. I am almost complete. I have a few follow-up questions with Bloomfield. I talked to some of the trustees at the meeting yesterday, and I think what would be best is that I email those letters, the final side letters, the comments to the executive director, and she will distribute them to the entire board, hopefully this Friday, but I would think by Monday at the latest. And then it's my understanding from the consultants that we can just address this at the next meeting, that there will not be a timing issue. So that's where we're at with respect to that matter. Item number 2, we've already discussed it, the correspondence regarding the Plant Moran audit engagement letter. I did request that they provide an amendment to that agreement, and they were agreeable to it, and it had to do with damages for negligence. Item number 3 is an email to the executive director regarding a question concerning the membership status of a former MAPE member. And pursuant to the terms of the ordinance clearly states that any person who becomes a member of the retirement system as a full-time regular employee shall remain a member as long as said person remains an employee of the city, even if they subsequently become part-time and they've not had a break in service. So my opinion is that they remain in the membership of the system pursuant to the terms of the ordinance. In this particular case, let me clarify, they were hired in under the MAPE contract and they have subsequently moved out of that position, but they're still employed by the city. Item number 4 under Exhibit C is your Robin Skeller Portfolio Monitoring Report. This is for trustee information. And then item 5, fees received from Sullivan Ward. This, there's been no changes.
Those are fees that on settled cases, right?
That's exactly
Where there
correct.
was an award,
That's right.
so you're not allowed to work on other cases.
Many others, yes.
That didn't happen or are still in the hopper, so to speak.
That's exactly right. I do have one matter to discuss in closed session. If we could have a motion to go into closed session.
Okay, if there's no, is there any questions on the legal report in open session first? Hearing none, we need a motion. It's been moved and supported. Will we go into closed session?
Gaffney,
Yes.
Giddings,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Swazer,
Yes, and I'd like to know what the, it says over here, resolved that the board approves going to close as we discussed. She says one item.
oh, you do,
Don't we have to identify the item?
Well, actually, we'll say 2 items then. There's 2 items, but one has since gone away. So to discuss Weight Watchers litigation matter and an Inogen litigation matter. Yes, for purposes of the minutes, that will be reflected what we went into closed session
Okay,
for.
and the answer is yes.
I just didn't want you to think we were actually going in to talk about 2 things. It's really only one item.
Swazer,
Said yes.
Walker,
Yes.
Deirdre Waterman,
Yes.
Patrice Waterman,
Yes.
John White.